What's up? I'm all Vindictus and all that good stuff. My day is going pretty good. Hopefully yours is. You can always leave a comment on that if you wish. Truth can be found when it is you take things within context. When it is you happen to be reading or listening, you must take it within for what is that context. Knowing for what history happens to be, and for what it is. Amongst that, the conditions for what you have seen. That which is for what it is I speak. It always confirms itself, otherwise it has no power as it speaks. And it has no place for where it thinks it should be. Or it can only confirm itself in order for it to be. That which does not easily disputed when it is not. For amongst many things might it be, for what information that you happen to seek, for when and where, and what amongst was written when and where, no matter for what it may be. If it were you were to take context of for when, in truth, could it have been written, and it could have been for what it is that is within that context. And for what should and should not be within, that cannot confirm for what it is that is within. For only amongst can there be confirmation. Otherwise, how do you get absolute when there is no confirmation? When searching for truth, you must take the context and know for what is the truth. Knowing when and where, that would prove upon the fact you know the context. When and where. Otherwise, you could not know. If you do not take the truth in context of when and where, whenever it may be, for the context of what was happening amongst that time can tell for when it was that it happened to have been written, compared to for when there is a difference amongst for when something else has been written. Taking things within context, you must know for what it is that is within the context. If it is you do not, then truth can pass you by and you know it not. For you cannot tell when, you cannot tell where. You cannot tell if it was before or after for what it is another happened to say they have been there. Taking the truth amongst for what has to be rooted in truth, for it must confirm itself to be absolute truth. That which cannot. It is not truth. Neither can it say it is or prove that it is or is not. For it is not rooted in truth, it cannot prove itself. For truth, it does not need to try, it just proves itself. With no dispute, could never be, never will. Within context, and for what it is that is its will. To take the truth amongst for what is the context, to know for when it was written and said amongst that text. Can easily tell for when it happened to have been written. For the context is proven amongst for what is happening amongst for what is written. For it must prove itself, otherwise it is not truth. Nor does it deserve to be amongst for what it is that happens to be declared as truth. Nor could it claim, for it has no stakes amongst for what it is it happens to claim. The truth proves itself. It must. Otherwise, what happens when one happens to try to find holes? That which confirms itself has absolutely no holes. For it does not need to try to prove itself, for it does. Take for what you think is truth, and take it to the context. And then you can find out, in truth, if it is what it is it claims within its context. Well, that looks like all the time I have for now. So, until next time.